Hello everyone. So here we are with the analysis of the question discussion of reasoning section of SNAP 2019. We have created solution for the entire paper, whatever questions we were able to collect. So we'll be discussing in this video, we shall be discussing the questions that came in SNAP 2019 in the reasoning section. So before we start the question discussion, let's look at the pattern of the examination that was asked. So a good portion of this section consisted of mathematical reasoning. 6 questions were asked from this topic. There were 3 questions on blood relations, 1 on analogy, direction, coding, decoding, clocks and calendars, 3 questions from it, series. Then you had visual reasoning questions on visual reasoning as well, completing a circle and calculating number of triangles and so on. There were questions on verbal reasoning, argument, strong, weak argument, scheduling of movie. There was a puzzle on scheduling of movies, and there was a linear arrangement which 6 spices were contained in 6 containers and the color of the containers was given, and some other miscellaneous questions. So all in all, the section was on the easier side. In the paper only the quant section was difficult, the English and the reasoning sections were easy. So let's have a look at the questions that were asked and how you could have solved them. So there was a question on analogies. Royal Bengal tiger is to India as snow leopard is to dash. The options were Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan and Afghanistan. You might have thought that this is a GK question, but yes, it may be a GK question, but however, applying reasoning, applying some common sense, you could have figured out that snow leopard is an animal which would reside in cold areas. So Afghanistan would be the obvious choice for this question. So Afghanistan was the answer to this question if you applied a slight common sense that Afghanistan is the coldest country of these all. So it is very likely that this animal would belong to that nation. So there was a question on laying of eggs. So it says that a new species lays 120 eggs, out of which 50% are male and 50% are female. The female insect hatch and grow in a span of 20 days to lay eggs by themselves. And it was given that on 1st April, the insect laid 120 eggs. Okay, how many eggs will be hatched by the end of May 2018? So see, so it involves, it involved multiplication. Of course, so from 1st April to 30th of May, you have 2 months, which means 60 days. So there will be 3 cycles. So it says that 50% are male and 50% are female. Okay. So you'll have in each cycle, you'll have in each hatching of eggs, you'll have 60 females and 60 male. Okay. So in the first cycle, it will give 120 eggs, okay, which will further give 60 and 60. Now this 60 will again give 120, which will be 60. Each will give 120. Okay, now let's consider this as male and this as female. So 60 male and 60 female, and these again would give 60 male and 60 female. Okay, so the answer would be 60 which is 1296, which was none of the given options. Okay, so in the paper there was an option none of these. So this was the number of eggs that were hatched. So this was none of these as the answer. Now there was a question on blood relation, coded blood relation. Okay, and there were some conditions given. So this question should have been solved by looking at the options. So one of the options was P at the rate B equal to S at the rate M. So let's see if we can get the solution using this. Okay. So A plus B means, so we have P at the rate B, which means P is the father of B. Equals means brother. So B is the brother of S. So P is the father of B as well as S. And then S is the father of M. So we have 3 generations here. Okay. So, however, in this case, we do not know the gender of M. Okay, but among the given options, in this case S, we know that S is the father of M, but we do not know that whether M is the son or daughter of S. But among the given options, this was the only option which could have fit for the answer. Because in other options, you were not getting a 3 generation tree. You were not able to correlate that M is the that P is the grandfather of M. So if there was some error in this question, if it were asked the other way around, P is the grandfather of M, then it would have been correct. But given the options, this was the closest option, so you should have chosen this option as the answer. Then there was a question on coding decoding. So India is written as 95491, and it was asked to write the code for Japan. So India is INDIA. If you convert into the numerical equivalents, it is 914491. So for 14 they have taken the sum of digits, so it is 95491. Now when we talk about Japan, it is 10, 1, 16, 1, 14. By this logic, you should have 1, 1, 7, 1, 5. So this was the answer to this question, 11715. I hope most of you must have got it correct. Now there was a question on finding the value of n such as n factorial is greater than 10 to the power n. So see, if you calculate this question, the best way to attempt this was to skip this question, because you could eliminate 2 options but could be get stuck between the other 2. So let's see, if you take numbers from 1 to 9, 10, 11. So if you take numbers up to 19 or even 20, you see that this is the central number, this is a power of 10. If you multiply 9 and 11, you get 99. Okay, so 99 is less than the second power of 10. And if you, the more you deviate from the center, the lesser number you get. For example, 12 into 8 is 96, which is again less than the power of 10, 10 square that is. So for each pair you see that the numbers keep on decreasing, hence you won't be able to get that n factorial is greater than 10 to the power n for this value. So you could easily eliminate 10 to 15 and 16 to 20. Okay. Now the choice was between 21 to 25 and 26 to 31. See, this question can be solved using logarithms. So if you take help of logarithms, you add those, you would be able to get the exact number. The number lies at 25. So for 25 factorial is greater than 10 to the power 25. However, it was not feasible to make this calculation. You could have just eliminated two of the options and chosen between one of the two. So the correct answer was 25. So then Suresh was right in this case. Okay. So the best strategy was to skip this question. Now there is a question in calendars that 1st June 2013 is Saturday, then 1st June 1981 is. What was the day on 1st June 1981? So you know that you have 32 years from 1981 to 2013. So 32 years, and the number of leap years would be 8 because 2000 itself was a leap year. So you have added 40 years. 40 year day, 40. So you know that each year, if there are 365 days, it is 52 weeks plus 1 day. Okay, so each year you keep adding one day, and on the occasions of leap years, you add 2 days. So in this case, you would have added 40 days. So if you take the modulus from 7, it means that you added 5 weekdays from 1st June 1981 to 1st June 2013. So 2013 was a Saturday, so you would subtract 5 days from Saturday. So if you count backwards, you get Monday as the answer. So Monday was the answer to this question. So those who knew this concept of clocks and calendars would have solved this question easily. Now there was a question on cubes. Okay, so one had to find the cube which would get formed using these the folding of this paper. So see guys, whenever you try to make a cube, you need to see that there should be 3 adjacent sides in the paper. So if you look at the answer to this question, you see that these are things which can just be visualized. So if you fold it this way, you would get it here. Okay, and you just rotate it this way, so you would get this side here. And with the cross sign here and this sign here. So basically if you could visualize this, you would get a cube like this. So the best strategy to solve such questions is visualize the options and see which fits the best. So these 3 were adjacent sides. This would have helped you formulate this cube. Now there was a question on filling the missing number in the grid. So the pattern was very easy. If you look closely, it is 6, 4, 152, 217. So if you look at the cubes, so 6 cube is 216 and 4 cube is 64. If you subtract 64 from it, you get 152. Similarly, 2 cube is 8, 1, 8 minus 1, 7, 125, 27 is 98, Then this would be 64 minus 8, which is 56. So 56 would be the answer to this question. Again, it was one of the easiest question in the section. Now there was a question on cuckoo clock, and some of you might have directly marked 10 as the answer. However, I'll tell you how to solve such kind of questions, such kind of reasoning question. There was another question regarding pills, taking of pills. So similarly, so it takes 5 seconds for the cuckoo clock to chime 5 cuckoos. So first, the first chime would be at t equal to 0. First at t equal to 0, then fifth at t equal to 5, which means that for 4 chimes it takes 5 seconds. So for each, the interval between 2 chimes is 1.25 seconds. So it chimes after every 1.25 seconds. Now it asks that how much time will it take to chime 10 cuckoos. Okay, so 10 cuckoos means the first would be at 0. Then you would have to calculate the time required for 9 chimes and then add to it, which is 1.25 into 9, 11.25. So the 10th chime would be at 11.25 seconds. So the answer to this question was 11.25. Many of you must have marked 10 as the answer, but that was not correct because you had to apply this reasoning. That's why it was a reasoning question, not a quantitative aptitude question. So there was again a question. It is a very common riddle asked, a riddle commonly asked. A person wants a house such that all sides of the house face north. So this thing is possible if you assume that if you take a house and see the sides of the house, they would face different directions. However, if you are at the poles, so if you are at the North Pole, all directions would be facing south. Similarly, if you are at the South Pole, all directions would be facing north. So the question said a person wants a house such that the sides of the house face north, hence it must have been in the South Pole. Okay. Now there was a question on shouting game in which Ram, Shyam, Rohit and Shiv participated. So Shiv responded based on the ratio of Ram, Shyam, and there was a proportion. Basically there was a proportion. So if this was 1:1, then again this would be 1:1. This was 1:2, hence it was again 1:2, 2:4. Now this is 1:3, so this also must have been 1:3, which is 6 seconds. So the answer to this question was 6 seconds. Now there was a question on critical reasoning. Since 2018, there was a statement given that since 2018, the bulk of India's population has comprised of young working people, much more than the dependent population. So children below 5 years of age and old people above 65 years of age are considered as dependent population. So the number of young people is much more than that of dependent population. And this trend will continue for the next 55 years. Now there were 2 courses of action that were mentioned. The first course of action said that there will be a huge increase in the GDP of the country, and the second course of action was, according to the report, this population will be able to contribute effectively if good health facilities, education and proper infrastructure are provided to the whole population. Now it was asked that which course of action follows and which does not follow. Okay, so if it was 1, 2, both or none of these. So see, so the statement says that there will be a huge, so this country, this trend will follow for the next 55 years, that the population will be of young people will be on the higher side. So if you look at the first course of action, there will be a huge increase in the GDP of the country. There is no relation between young population and GDP. There is no direct inference that GDP would increase because of young population. So this course of action does not follow. Now let's look at the second course of action. It says that according to the report, this population will be able to contribute effectively if health facilities, education and proper infrastructure are provided. So health facilities, education and proper infrastructure. These three things are the things that lead to the development of the country. So these are the basic things, if provided in a good manner, lead to the development. So now if these facilities are provided, health, education and infrastructure, obviously the population would be well off and they would contribute effectively to the economy. Okay, so the second course of action followed as per this given statement. Now there was a question on clock. So a clock gains 10 minutes in a day. It was corrected at 6 am. What will be the correct time when the clock shows 11 am the following day? Now see, there are two ways to solve it. Okay, first thing was that the options given in the answer were very the options were not very close, so one could have easily answered that question. Suppose the question was such that there was no option given. If it was a special type question, then how to solve that? Okay, so by common sense we know that in 24 hours, okay, which is, now this is normal clock and this is this defective clock. So in 24 hours it gains 10 minutes. So normal clock will gain move ahead by 1440 minutes. This would go ahead by 1450 minutes. Okay, so the defective clock gains 10 minutes in 24 hours. Now it talks that the next day the clock shows 11 am. So 11 am from 6 am the previous day is 29 hours, 24 hours up to 6 am and then another 5 hours, 29 hours. So 29 hours is 1740 minutes. Okay. Now if you know tables well, you know that this is 5:6. It's a multiple of 29 into 50, 29 into 60, this is 5:6. So again you will take 5:6 for this and you will get 1728 as the answer. 1728 means 28 hours and 48 minutes. Hence the answer would be 10:48 am. So 10:48 am was the answer to this question. Even if you went through the paper, you know that the options were very far away. You could easily mark 10:48 as the answer because see, it gives 10 minutes in 24 hours, so it's around 29 hours, so it must be somewhere around 12 minutes. You could have easily marked as 10:48. It won't be 15 minutes or it won't be less than 10. Obviously it won't be less than 10. It would be very close to 12 minutes even if you couldn't make the calculation. So this was the answer to this question. So Vishal, doctor 3 pills. So a doctor asked Vishal to take 3 pills in a gap of 30 minutes. What is the minimum time by which Vishal will get rid of his pain? So again this was like the cuckoo question, that first pill will be at t equal to 0, The second will be at t equal to 30. The third will be at 60 minutes. So the third pill he would take at 60 minutes and would get rid of his pain. Mobile manufacturing company, 6 staff, 6 members, packed 6 mobiles in 6 minutes. So the natural instinct is that people would have marked 60 as the answer to this question. Okay, because they see 60, 60 and then they mark 60 as the answer. If we look carefully, so 6 staff members, mobile 6 and time is 6 minutes. Now how much would one person take? If there were only one person and there were 6 mobiles, he would have taken 36 minutes to pack it. Okay. Now we are given that you have to pick, so suppose there was one person and now the number of staff members is asked. So if there are 60 mobiles, okay, 60 mobiles, then it would take 360 minutes. So if there are 6 men, 6 mobiles, the time taken is 6 minutes. If there was only one man, he would have taken 6 times, which is 36 minutes. Now we have increased the number of packs to 60, so the time would also increase by 10 folds and would become 360 minutes. However, we are given a constraint of 60 minutes. So if you need to find the number of men required, so you just divide by 60, you get 6 as the answer. So 6 men would pack 60 mobiles in 60 minutes. So 6 was the answer to this question. Okay. So this was an analogy question. Ornithologist is the one who studies birds. Herpetologist is the one who studies reptiles. So reptiles was the answer to this question. Now there was a question followed by a long story that they visit temple and then Amar consumes laddus and all. So not going to the story, the details of the story. So it says that he consumed 6 more laddus than the previous day. How many? So he consumed 100 laddus from Monday to Friday. And he consumed 6 more laddus than the previous day, which means it is an arithmetic progression. And we are given the sum as 100. And luckily we are asked the number of laddus consumed on Wednesday. So you know that when the number of terms is odd, the central term is the average. Okay, so here is the middle, Wednesday is the middle term. So obviously it will be the average, 100 by 5, which is 20. So even if the number of laddus were 5 than the previous day, 4 than the previous day or anything, if it was lying on the central value, that is Wednesday is the third day, so it would always be 20. If it were asked to calculate for other days, then obviously you would have used the 6 number and calculated. So it would have been 8, 14, 20, 26 and 32. So 20 laddus was the answer to this question. It was a straightforward question. Now there was a question on number series. Again, this was a very easy question. Okay. So in number series questions, one should always look for 2 things, quotient and differences. So if you look at the differences, you see 1, 1, 3, then now this becomes 15, this is 5, then you see a big number here. Okay. So if you see that, if you watch closely, you could see that there is some other relation, not of difference. Okay, so you see that this is 4 times of this. Now look at these two numbers. Okay, just by using some common sense, you would try to put 150 here and see if it works. Okay, so if you try to put 150 here, then this would be 6 times. Okay, and then this difference would be 7. So if you watch closely, if you remove this, this is 4 times, difference 5. If you remove this, this is 2 times, the difference is 3. So the pattern was actually 0 plus 1, which is 1. 1 into 2 is 2. Then 2 plus 3 is 5. 5 into 4 is 20. 20 plus 5 equals 25. Then it was 25 into 6, 150. And 150 plus 7 equal to 157. So 150 was the answer to this question. It wasn't a difficult one, just applying some common sense, looking at the pattern, one could have easily solved it. Now there is a question on completion of figure. So the best way is to just join it. Okay, now you have to complete this triangle thing from here. Then you have this hexagon. Anything else? No, this was the only thing. So the answer to this question was this. There was one more triangle. So this was the answer. So for such visual reasoning kind of questions, you need to draw them on the paper and then see that which fits. Okay. Now there was again a question on visual reasoning. Again, very easy question. Just see the number of intersections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 is the answer. This is just one intersection. Obviously, the answer would be 4. 4 intersections. This shows that how easy the paper was. Most of the questions were very easy. You could have just solved those questions and skipped the ones which were time consuming. So there was a question on blood relation. Kishore says that that man's father is my father's son. So that man's father is the person himself. So he is the that father's son is the person itself. So Kishore is his father's son is Kishore himself, and that man's father is Kishore. It means that the person must be his son. So this is Kishore himself. Okay, and this son was the answer to this question. Again, a very easy question. How many times does the letter A appear from 0 to 100? Now this was, I would say that a common knowledge question rather than a reasoning question. You must have heard that the letter A appears for the first time in the word 1000. So you don't have A from 1 to 100, so 0 is the answer to this question. Actually it was none of these. So many of the options in the examination were none of these. Now there was a question on, now this, I'd say it was a question related to quantitative aptitude rather than reasoning. So the population of a town was given as this, 125,000. Okay, 125,000. It reduces by 4% per annum, so which is 96%. It it becomes 96% of its own. So at 2 years ago the population was given, and it asks the number of people migrated. So if you take 96%, which is 24 by 25, so this is 5 into 24 is 120,000. So this was the population 1 year ago. Now if you take the percentage again, 96%, you would get 115200 is the present population. Now this was, I felt, a question on quantitative aptitude. We were testing arithmetic in this. So 9800 is the answer to this question. Not a difficult one though, very easy one. You just had to take 96%, you had to calculate the present population and then subtract. Now there was a question on screening of movies, okay, and there were 5 movies: Do Bigha Zameen, Sholay, 3 Idiots, Chak De, Anand, and they were screened from Monday to Friday, and the order was not given. Okay, so we'll solve it. Now it says that Chak De should be followed by Anand, which means that C should be followed by A. Then Sholay is immediately after Do Bigha Zameen. So S is after D. The remaining movie is 3 Idiots. Okay. There is one movie between Sholay and 3 Idiots. Okay. So Sholay and 3 Idiots, it means that if we take this pair, then we cannot have 3 Idiots after that, because either this will be together or 3 Idiots would be after this. 3 Idiots would follow this pair. Okay, so we cannot have Do Bigha Zameen and Sholay preceding these 2 movies, Chak De India and Anand. So this precedence order is false. So it would be either CA, okay, then you have D and S together. Chak De should be followed by Anand, Do Bigha Zameen should be followed by Sholay. Sholay and 3 Idiots, there is one movie between those 2. Okay, it says that screening of Do Bigha Zameen and Chak De should not be on the first and last day. So there is one possibility that if we have 3 Idiots, but it says that Chak De, the screening of Chak De should not be on the first or last day. So this is eliminated. Now we can have, the other possibility is 3 Idiots just before this pair. Now this satisfies all our conditions, that there is one movie between Sholay and 3 Idiots, okay, Chak De is followed by Anand, and Sholay is immediately after Do Bigha Zameen. So this was the correct order of this puzzle. Okay, so as per this, which movie was screened on Friday? It was Anand. Sholay was screened on which day? So Sholay, you can see that was screened on Wednesday. Three Idiots was screened on Monday. So again, this was a very easy question, and you could have easily solved the 3 questions related to it. There was another puzzle on spices and all. We were not able to collect all the relevant information related to it, so we couldn't create solution for the same. Again, that was not a very difficult question. It was again an easy moderate puzzle, arranging those 6 spices in those 6 containers. So we've tried to cover all the questions that we were able to recall from the paper, and we created the solutions for the same. And we have also created videos for the quant and the English section. So please do watch them, and you will get to know that how you solve those questions, were they correct, and what should have been the approach to solve those questions. And please subscribe to our channel. We have created videos for all the MBA exams that were conducted this year, be it CAT or IFT or SNAP, and we'll be covering the upcoming examinations. So you can see the live analysis on the day of the examination, and also watch the memory based paper solutions. So this was the solution for the reasoning section. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. We'll be creating more videos for the upcoming examinations. Thank you and have a nice day.